Hi there, this is Tantin. Today, we're talking about a huge airline company that managed to bounce back from the pandemic. Even though it is still debatable whether air travel has recovered from the pandemic, at least there is still air travel in some countries and states. So in this video, we're talking about how this airplane manufacturer plans to ride through this pandemic. The company that we're talking about is Boeing. Before you continue, please smash the like button. And if you'd like to see more such videos, please subscribe to this channel. Firstly, we're talking about the business model of the company. Most people should know about Boeing. If you don't know Boeing, you should be familiar with Airbus. For those that don't know either, these companies produce commercialized airplanes and sell them to airliners companies. Secondly, we're talking about the settlement made by Boeing to the FAA over the 737 MAX saga. Boeing will pay $70 million in penalty under a FAA settlement after it installed equipment on 759 Boeing 737 MAX and NG aircraft that contain sensors that were not improved. The FAA said the settlement separately covers the planemaker submission of 178 Boeing 737 MAX aircraft for airworthiness certification when the aircraft potentially had non-conforming slack tracks installed and improperly marked those slack tracks. Boeing has agreed to several corrective actions, including conducting safety risk management analysis to determine whether its supply chain oversight process are appropriate and whether the company is ready to safely increase the Boeing 737 production rate, the agency said. The company must strengthen procedures to ensure it does not install any aircraft parts that fail to conform to the approved design, the FAA also said. If Boeing does not complete corrective action in a timely fashion, the FAA could levy up to $10.1 billion in additional penalties. Boeing must also revise production procedures to enable the FAA to observe production rates, readiness assessment, and the data on which the company based the assessment and the results of the assessment. In March 2020, the FAA proposed fining Boeing $19.7 billion for allegedly installed equipment on hundreds of 737 aircraft containing sensors in head-up display that regulators had not approved for use. There is no relationship between the two fatal 737 MAX crash, grounding the plane for 20 months, and the sensor issue, the FAA said in 2020. Next, we're talking about another halt that the company needs to wait for the approval of a plane inspection method. The FAA said that Boeing had temporarily halted delivery of the 787 Dreamliners as the agency wait for more data to determine if the plane maker's plane inspection method met federal requirements. Boeing still need to show that its proposed inspection methods will meet FAA federal safety regulations. The FAA is waiting for additional data from Boeing before determining whether the company's solution meets safety regulations, the FAA said in a statement. Boeing said earlier it was providing the FAA with more information on its under-delivered 787 Dreamliners, but there was no impact on planes already in service. The FAA noted that it has issued two airworthiness directives to address production issues for in-service airplanes. The FAA said in September it was investigating manufacturing flaws involving some 787 Dreamliners. Boeing said in August, airlines operates its 787 Dreamliners removed 8 jets from service as a result of two distinct manufacturing issues. Thirdly, we'll be talking about the deliveries made by the airline companies. One of the companies is Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines said it is increasing its order for Boeing smaller 737 MAX models by nearly 3,000 planes, citing an improvement in travel demand. The Dallas-based airline said in a filing that will exercise options to increase its firm order of 737 MAX by 34 planes, bringing its total order book for that plane to 234. The all-Boeing 737 airline also have ordered for 149 MAX 8 planes to be delivered through 2031 as the company retires older 737s. Southwest expects its 2022 capital expenditure to total $1.5 billion, up from a previous estimate of $700 million. United Airlines and Alaska Airlines have also increased their Boeing MAX orders in recent months, helping boost demand that dried up after the planes were grounded in 2019 after two fatal crashes. US regulators lifted the grounding last November. Southwest said it expects demand and revenue to continue to improve into July as vaccinators return to air travel, pushing leisure fares up to 2019 levels. It forecasts June revenue will be down 20% compared with 2019 and that July sales will come in at 15 to 20% lower than 2 years ago. Business travel, the laggard in the recovery, is also improving but remains far below 2019 levels, a trend that will weigh on fares, Southwest said. The other company is United Airlines. United Airlines is in talks to buy around 200 single-aisle jets in a multi-billion dollars revamp set to benefit both Boeing and Airbus. If confirmed, the deal could include over 100 of Boeing's 737 MAX 8s and several dozen larger Airbus A321 new jets, the sources said, asking not to be identified. The carrier is looking to upgrade its fleet at a time when travel is surging in the US, according to Bloomberg's news, which first reported the Boeing negotiation. That portion of the order could include 150 MAX aircraft, it said. In March, United ordered 25 new Boeing 737 MAX as it prepared to replace aging jets and meet post-pandemic demand growth. Booking for US airlines are expected to rebound this year on the back of COVID-19 vaccination and easing restrictions after the pandemic caused the industry's worst downturn. It will bolster Boeing's main cash cow, the MAX 8s, after a safety grounding will reinforce a trend towards Airbus at the higher end of the busy single-aisle segment that threatened to alter the product lineup in the transatlantic duopoly. Finally, we're talking about the trade dispute between Airbus and Boeing. The first country to reach a truce with the US is Britain. Britain and the US said they have agreed on a deal to resolve a trade dispute over Airbus and Boeing for the next 5 years, ensuring retaliatory tariffs remain suspended. The agreement comes 2 days after the EU also chose in their near 17 years conflict over aircraft subsidies, suspending for 5 years one set of the Trump-era tariff, which had sour relationship with the US. The two sides have been battling since 2004 in parallel case at the World Trade Organization over subsidies for US plane makers Boeing and European rivals Airbus, which each argued exposed the other to unfair competition. Britain has left the EU since the dispute began and the Trump tariffs were imposed, and the agreement achieved many of the same results as the EU-US deal. Both Britain and the US have agreed to suspend retaliatory tariffs for 5 years and cooperate more closely on tackling unfair trade practice by non-market economies, Britain's trade minister said in a statement. The next set of countries to reach a deal with the US is the EU. The US and EU said they have resolved a 17-year-long fight over aircraft subsidy, agreeing to suspend tariffs for 5 years, stemming from the Boeing-Airbus dispute. Quote, "This meeting has started with a breakthrough on aircraft, said European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, who met with President Joe Biden at a US-EU summit in Brussels. Quote, "This really opens a new chapter in our relationship because we moved from litigation to cooperation on aircraft after 17 years of dispute." At a subsequent press conference, von der Leyen added, "The agreement we found not really open a new chapter in our relationship because we moved from litigation to cooperation." She added in a joint statement with the EU that both sides could now have time and space to find a lasting solution through our new work group on aircraft, while saving billions of euros in duties from importers on both sides of the Atlantic. End quote. As part of the deal, the EU and US agreed to provide research and development funding through an open and transparent process, as well as to not give specific support such as tax breaks to their own producer that will harm the other side. In conclusion, Boeing has benefited from the reopening of the economy. Concurrently, the US and EU have resolved the trade issues. This greatly opens up a new market for the airplane maker. However, we don't know how well will airline companies forgive the mistake made by the company. So it is very hard for me to judge. For me, I will still wait until after the pandemic to judge whether to purchase shares in the company. With that, thank you for a nice day. Goodbye.